Hi, welcome to the Coaxum Report. I am Terry Coaxum, and today we're going to be joined by small business owner LaShawn Alexander. LaShawn, I like to call a serial entrepreneur. She actually has a dual business. LaShawn has a consulting business, and she also has a cupcake business. So we're going to be talking to LaShawn today about some of her barriers and her best practices moving forward. And so, welcome to the marketplace. LaShawn, how are you?
Hi,
Welcome.
Terry. I'm
Wel-
so glad to be here today. Really excited about your new channel. Yeah, I know it's gonna be great.
So, this is the marketplace, and on the marketplace, we like to talk to small business owners and business owners in general about ways to start to grow your business, give them some nuggets and solutions. And so, I want to talk to you a little bit today about that. But before we do, if you can please let our audience know who you are. I was talking about your dual business.
Yes,
And
So
so
for
we can talk about that.
so for those who don't know me, my name is LaShawn Alexander. I am a consultant. I am a baker. I have two businesses, and they both incorporate my passion. I'm also an educator, um, eh, similar to Terry Coaxum, who is an awesome colleague of mine as at the mayor at Medgar Evers College. So where we
Absolutely.
met. So I've been incorporated as a cupcake company for over 10 years. While I was working at the mayor's office of contract services, kind of decided that I wanted to bring in my passion for sweet treats, um, and incorporated my business. Didn't really have a lot of baking experience at the time, but I knew my mom had always loved baking and doing catering. Growing up, every Sunday we would have a treat at the table baked, right? So it's a coffee cake, a cranberry cake, cheesecake, like you name it. Like my mom, I always say she was like the Martha Stewart, that wasn't popular but was real.
So, LaShawn, do you remember how we first met?
Yeah.
So it's a quirky kind of story, right? So
Mhm.
when I first started working with the Small Business Administration, I was the regional advocate. I covered New York, New Jersey, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands, and I had an idea to have a women's roundtable. So women business owners came in to talk to me a little bit about some of their business, some of their struggles, to ask the Small Business Administration for assistance. And LaShawn happened to be one of those businesses. And it's so funny because I didn't remember LaShawn. And one day I said, wait a minute, I'm going through some pictures. And I have
Mhm.
pictures, LaShawn.
Yeah, I remember, and it was, like, before we even knew each other at Medgar Evers College, right?
That's right. That's right. It was way before that. And so,
Yeah.
for the listening audience, I want you to know we are on the Callaloo Network. We're right here on the marketplace, and we're on Callaloo Network, Bloomberg, Tempo, and also you can listen to us on several different streaming sources. You can listen to us on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple. Roku, Tempo network, of course. So please join us in all of those different areas and listen to LaShawn's going to tell us her awesome, super amazing story. We're also going to talk about some of the contracting opportunities. And LaShawn is also a minority woman business enterprise,
Yeah.
both here in New York City
Mhm.
and in New York State. And if you guys remember, we had Senator Kevin Parker on, and he was telling us about the billions of dollars in contracting opportunities that are available. And so I want to talk to some of the listeners about that. But we're going to go back to LaShawn because she told us about one of her business, which is of course her cookie business. And in full disclosure, right, my I have custody of my great nephew, temporary custody of him, and he loves Elmo. In fact, he thinks Elmo is the leader of the free world. He wakes up in the morning asking for Elmo, right? So LaShawn, for his second birthday party, she made him Elmo cupcakes, and he was very happy with them. They were super delicious. LaShawn, can you tell our listening audience what your email, what your website is, so they can go on and kind of see what some of the treats, the sweet treats that we're talking about today?
Yeah, so if you go to www.lashawnscupcakes.com, you can place your orders. Again, Harry said, whatever theme your kid has for their birthdays, we will customize it. You know, our joy is when they really look at it and they're really excited. And Andrew was so excited about those almost.
He loved those. He loved those cupcakes. He's very happy with those cupcakes. And so, LaShawn, I want you to talk a little bit about your consulting business. We've had the opportunity to do a lot of great work
Yeah,
together, actually, helping small business with business development and business plans and all of that great stuff. And so, if you can talk to our audience a little bit about your consulting business, what you're doing in the consulting business, and then we can kind of really break into talking about some of the barriers, the best practices, and of course some big ideas
yeah.
that business have, so we can help the listening audience to
Mhm.
start and grow their business.
Yeah. So, you know, my consulting company actually came out of a need, right? So I
Okay.
had resigned at the mayor's office, kind of not really knowing what I wanted to do at the time, but I didn't want to work on the passport team. We had done the launching, you know,
Mhm.
people were on board, and then I saw like, you know, the workload was kind of going to be like very everyday, you know, and I'm
Right.
a creative type, so I like to do different things.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so in the mayor's office, you know, the my initial position was there was no one sitting in my seat before me. So it was really
Oh,
great because I had the
okay.
opportunity to create. Uh, it's kind of like being an entrepreneur, right? You
Yeah.
have the
That's right.
ability to, you know, set your schedule. You know you have the ability to bring on new projects. You know you had you know I was a thought leader at that time, so just
That's
thinking
right.
about different things to support the nonprofit community, you know, which I was working on at the time, you know, brought in lots of great, brilliant ideas that,
Mhm.
you know, is still consistent today, right? So we have changed two different administrations since I started, and some of those programs are still being, you know, utilized.
Oh,
So,
that's awesome. That's
um,
awesome.
yeah, we did, you know, the discretionary training for all the council funded groups.
Oh.
And we did them in all the boroughs. Yes, I was the mastermind, organizing all these events, getting everybody in the place together for them.
And
But
that's
yeah,
great information. Let's pause there for a minute. So, what LaShawn is referring to when we're talking about discretionary funding, so our city council members here in New York City has an opportunity to fund different projects. And so, in order to be a part of that, you have to apply online, the city council website. And when you go in to apply for that, you will put in your council member, you'll put in whether you're applying for the speaker's pot of money, what
mhm,
agency you're using the money for, and so it's a great opportunity for individuals that get certified, and we'll talk about what certification mean shortly. But once you're certified, that's your license to hunt, right? And then you're able to go in and ask for discretionary funding for different businesses. So the for the discretionary funding, it's the nonprofit business, right? So if you have a nonprofit business and you are looking for funding from the government, you'll apply for discretionary funding through that source, and that's what LaShawn has expertise in. And then in addition to that, there is the NWE, which is Minority Women Owned Business Enterprise, and you have an opportunity to apply to that funding, whether it's the Department of Education, whether you're applying for Health and Human Services. That pocket of money is what we're going to be referring to as the dollars that you'll be able to get contracts. And so when she's talking about the mayor's office of contracts, like that is the mother lode. That's the place
all
where,
kinds
all
of
the contracts and
opportunities. You know.
opportunities are coming from. And so we'll talk to you a little bit about that, because whether you're in New York, New Jersey, whether you're in Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, all of us have, there are all opportunities with government to contract. So we're going to take a short break and a commercial break, and we'll be right back to talk to you a little bit more about how you can get to be a part of those, how you get some of those dollars. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
I'm Charles Meriden. I'm Charles Meriden. Restaurant business. In my 20 years as a chef and restaurant owner, I've been able to work and eat in some of the great kitchens around the globe. There's a whole side of the restaurant that most people will never get to see. So now, I want to take you to the back of the house, into kitchens of some of the best chefs in the world. Along the way, I'll share some of my own tips and recipes so you can cook like a pro too. So join me in the back of the house for a whole new perspective on cooking and food. Order in. Roger. Serve it, please.
Buona Pasqua.
I'm glad that you came. Please.
Hi, welcome back. Welcome back to the Marketplace powered by Callaloo Network. It is an opportunity for businesses to get some nuggets and some solutions. And you can watch us live, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, Roku, and Tempo Network. And also, we're part of Bloomberg WSTX and AM 970. So tune in and listen to our and to the Coaxum Report. And so I am joined here today with my colleague and my friend, Miss LaShawn Alexander. She's also a professor at Medgar Evers College, where we are expanding young minds. And so, in our last in the last portion of our segment, we were talking about the difference with government funding. We are talking about this funding for the nonprofit organizations that are doing good things in our towns and in our cities and our municipalities. Also talking about MWBE, which is Minority Women Owned Business Enterprise, and some of the funding that's available to for-profit organizations that's looking to have contracting opportunities. LaShawn has a wealth of knowledge. She worked in 2 mayor administrations, and she was just sharing some of her nuggets about what she was able to do through some of that programming. So I'm going to pass the baton back to you, LaShawn.
Thank you so much, Terry. Yeah. So, it was really a great opportunity, working under Mike Bloomberg, a philanthropist, and again, continuing it, under Bill de Blasio for, my tenure there, and helping nonprofits, right, navigate the system, right? And so, the city, wants to give nonprofits funding, right? But they also have to ensure that there's accountability, right? Because
That's
as a
right.
taxpayer,
Taxpayer dollars.
we're
That's right.
paying, right?
That's right.
Our money is going to these organizations. We want to ensure that they are doing a great job, right? That
Mhm.
they're
That's right.
performing the services that they say that they are, and that they're legit, right? They have all their ducks, their insurances. So there's like all these checks in the checklist that has to be done, right?
That's
Once
right.
they receive, that contract letter saying that they've been awarded, discretionary funds. And so, we had a whole training series where we, had internal controls sessions. So,
Mhm.
make sure that they're able to safeguard their assets.
Mhm.
We had, legal compliance. So making sure that they know legally that this is a binding contract that they're signing with the city, state, whatever governmental
That's
agency that
right.
you're signing, that it's legal, right? And you're accountable to what's the terms of that contract,
That's
right?
right.
And so, there were also best practice tips, right? So for the board, all right. So, having at least quarterly board meetings, right?
Mhm.
Legally, you can meet one time for the year as a board, a nonprofit board. But,
Right.
you know, in terms of best practices, how does that really support the organization if you only meet one time,
Yeah,
right?
because you have to know what's going on aboard. Yeah.
You
That's
don't
right.
know,
You need to
right?
be more
Every
than
quarter
right.
is different, right?
That's right.
So at least quarterly. Some we recommend monthly, right? Because
That's right.
things are happening so quick at the organization. As a board member, your fiduciary duty is to ensure that the books and records of the organization is compliant and accurate.
That's right.
As a board member, you kind of are legally in this position so that if anything happens that's,
You
shady, the fingers being
accountability.
pointed
You
to you,
yeah.
right? You're on
That's
the board, right?
that's right.
Um, and that's not usually the reason people join boards. They join boards because a friend may have invited them,
Right.
or
Or they're passionate about the cause or yeah.
yeah. So you're like, yeah, I love this organization. They're tennis, they're swimming, they're dance, and but you have to ensure that they're those
That you
there's
have a fiduciary
compliance.
duty. That's right. And
Yeah.
it's interesting that you would say that, right? Because there's
Mhm.
a lot of nonprofit organizations that we consult with, and I consult with them with Coaxum Connects and you as well, with your consulting firm. And we have to walk them through those checks, right? We have to make sure that they have a board. We
Yeah.
have to make sure that they're compliant. We have to encourage them to get insurance. We have
Mhm.
to make sure that they understand that their taxes have to be done,
Mhm.
and all of these other things, because when you're getting these contracts, so when you're getting the discretionary funding, you have to show them the money. You have to show every place where that
Place.
money was spent. You have to be responsible on the terms of the contract, and
Yeah.
you have to have an accurate account of all the money that was spent and the money that wasn't spent. So that's really interesting that we're talking about that today. I remember I was on the YMCA board. I love my Bedford YMCA.
Mhm.
I sat on the board. I didn't understand my responsibility in the beginning, but they made it very clear to me in addition to the meetings that I was responsible for helping the board to raise money as well. And so
Mhm.
that was one of the really big things that we did because we wanted to pay for summer camp programs for our community. We wanted to make sure that individuals that were not able to pay, they can actually still come in and have a full summer program. And so it was a lot that we did on those boards. But talk to me a little more about. I know we did. We talked about something called Passport, and most organizations,
Yeah.
most city agencies or cities and municipalities have these things in place
Yeah.
where once you receive this funding, you have to now do what? What's that next step for those
Yes.
who are listening
Once
to it?
once you receive the funding, then you're responsible for carrying out, those duties. You're also
That's right.
responsible for what's called an end of year report, right? So you've done all your services, then you're kind of going back to that drawing board, which is why when I work with organizations, I like to do strategic planning, right? Which is these are your goals and these are your outcomes, right? So
That's right.
you want to check, right? And the city checks that, right? So, they may contract you to serve X amount of children, right? At the end of the contract, did you meet that goal,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
And if you didn't, if it's a performance-based contract, then that means that you're going to get less funding,
That's right.
right?
And that's important for the listeners to understand. There are different kinds of contracts. And so performance is one of the contracts. What are the other types of contracts that you consult on?
Yeah, so usually the discretionary contracts are its own, then there are RFPs, requests for proposals.
That's right.
And those contracts are more permanent, right? More binding, and they last longer, right? So you have them
Right.
for a 3-year term. The discretionary contracts are 1 year,
That's
right?
right.
So
Hmm.
every year you have to apply for this, additional funding.
Hmm.
And depending on how well you use it and how, much show your council member that they've really made a good investment, they'll invest more in you, right?
That's right. That's right.
But if you didn't, they usually, they'll
You
probably
don't
give
get the
you
funding
more,
again.
or they may give you less, right?
Mhm.
Because there's a limited pot, right?
That's right.
And so, back in the day when, the city used to give out contracts, there wasn't this performance metrics, right?
Mhm.
We would just, contract with a city agent, a nonprofit
Mhm.
partner to do X service, for example, daycares. And whether they had full enrollment of kids, we would pay for their rent,
Right.
because the kids have to have like the rent, the space has to be lit, all the insurance costs and
Mhm.
everything that goes with the program, the city would pay for,
That's
right?
right.
But the city shifted that to performance-based because, you know, it was really an imbalance, right? So a unutilized, daycare would be getting the same resources as a fully or overutilized daycare,
Mhm.
right? And that really shouldn't have been the case, right? Because you wanna base, the payment for your service on what you're getting, your output, right? So that
Absolutely.
also helped the organizations that were underperforming because now if they didn't have, 10 children in that chair, right? And they only had half, 5, they were only gonna be supported 50%. And
That's
then
right.
the board would have to be responsible for the next 50, right?
Right.
Because, ultimately, if this is what your organization says that they would do, they have to do it or they would close their doors, right? Because they're not
Absolutely.
able to Right.
Absolutely. So we're going to pause right there for a minute. We're going to take another quick break, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about the performance contracts,
Mhm.
and just give some nuggets on some opportunities for some of our nonprofit business owners to go after some of those opportunities that are available through their city government, their municipalities. So we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get right back. Thank you so much.
Style takes too long. I can't fit anything. I have nothing in this closet. Oh, I'll just stay home. I need to purge my closet. Oh, but not that dress. Yo, Taylor here. If you ever thought to say one of these phrases, then this show is for you. Join me at the Style Table, where we'll have candid and fun conversations about real women's style issues and wardrobe dilemmas. We will discuss solutions and ideas that will give you a big sigh of relief. You'll learn ways to save money, make money, and enrich the lives of others with the clothes in your closet. We're going to take the stress out of your style.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the launch of the new MTV Caribbean channel. What's the name? What's the name?
Let's go.
And that's why tempo is so so important and sort of on point, because there's a tempo to everything that we do in the Caribbean. You know what I'm saying? It's a heartbeat.
We have our whole channel, man. The Caribbean is so diverse.
And for them to recognize that and to launch a channel for that, that is totally amazing.
I started to think about all of that, and I was like, wow. I said, well, wait a minute. These are all the things that make great television.
Watch on 10.
Hi, welcome back to the Coaxum Report here on the Marketplace. It's powered by the Callaloo Network. You can also tune in to WSTX Bloomberg and WSTX AM 970. You can watch us on Apple TV, on Roku, on Tempo. And I am delighted to be sharing some space and time with my colleague and my friend, LaShawn Alexander. We're talking about opportunities for nonprofit business in this segment. And we're also going to be talking a little bit about for-profit minority women-owned business enterprises as well, and how you can get your share of the government pie, whether you're a nonprofit or a for-profit business. So thank you so much for being a part of this show, LaShawn.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad that we transition into the performance-based contracts because they're both for-profit and for nonprofits, right?
Oh, awesome. Okay, great. Yeah.
It's kind of like where we really transition, open it up to not just nonprofits, right? So, the city, the state, and the federal government are contractors, and they're always looking for uh, businesses to do a lot of the services or deliver a lot of the goods, for them. And so, as a MWBE, there are some set asides for minority women-owned businesses, in the standard contracting process, which helps,
That's
small businesses such as myself and yours.
that's
And,
right.
there's lots of money in the pot. We know that there are ways that, sometimes waivers happen because businesses often say that there are no nonprofits that specialize in certain areas, because this is a specialty area. But what I've found and realized over the years just working is that there are, minority women businesses in all these areas.
That's
It's
right.
just that, we're not really open to a lot of the conversations and often are not at the table or even overlooked,
That's
right?
right. And so,
But I think the
right.
city,
Go
state,
ahead.
and federal government nowadays are really more conscientious of that, and so they will, through creating databases for
Mhm.
MWEs,
That's
that
right.
vendors can actually look and see that there are, nonprofit MWBEs that do this particular service area, like it's
And so,
listed.
absolutely. Let's pause there because that's really important. Like you're giving some real good nuggets, but we
Mhm.
need to make sure that our businesses get ready so they'll be ready for these opportunities. And so LaShawn is referring to our small business and making sure that they are one certified. So
Right.
in our cities, in our state and our municipalities, government give minority women owned business an opportunity to go into their database and get certified. And
Mhm.
you certify as a minority women owned business, and then you can have a piece of that pie that LaShawn is referring to. And so, what we're encouraging you to do is to definitely get your business certified. You can go on to your government.gov, whether it's your New York City or New York State, New Jersey, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, or any of those spaces that you are living in. Apply to be a minority women owned business. If you look at the criteria, make sure that you fit the criteria, apply for that opportunity, and then you have the license to hunt. Right now you're able to go after those contracting opportunities that LaShawn is referring to. And so one of the other nuggets that we're going to give is, when I say get ready, I mean that, make sure that you have a capability statement. Right, so LaShawn was referring to being in a part of a database. So our city, our states, and our municipalities, they actually, when you get certified, they put you in a database. And so
Mhm.
when governments are looking for these services, they're now able to know that you build that widget or that you're responsible for doing that service, right? So they're going to give you a NAICS code. You're gonna get your NAICS code, your North Atlantic code, or your NGIP code, and those will give agencies the awareness that you are doing this type of business in the space that they would like for you to do it in. And so you're going to do a capability statement, you're going to add your code, you're going to be a part of the database. And I know LaShawn is like, she's explaining it to you in that way. And I just wanted you to understand to follow these steps. And once you follow these steps, you now have your license to go out and get some of this $1 billion contracting opportunities that our cities and our states are responsible for making sure these services are being delivered. And so you can now be a part of that. And the other thing that LaShawn mentioned is that we hear it often and heard it a lot more when I was at Small Business Administration. We don't have any minority businesses doing that type of work.
Right.
And so if you're listening today, and again, we're this is the Callaloo Network in the Marketplace, and we're listening to the Marketplace, and it's powered by Callaloo Network. If you're listening to us today, I encourage you to go and look for, go into your municipality or your government website and figure out what the contract, what the NWBE process is, and apply for those opportunities so that you can be a part of what LaShawn is sharing with us today. And once you are a part of it, you're now able to do services with the government, which we all know government needs goods and services every single day. And so we have the city government, we have the state, and we also have the federal government. All three are doing work with small businesses. So, LaShawn, I'm going to let you continue, but I just want to pause so that our audience can understand the importance of what you're saying. We're explaining it to them, but here we like to kind of give them the nuggets along the way so that they can go after those opportunities and they'll know where to go. So, thank you so much for sharing that.
Absolutely. And always, if you don't know where to go, you can always reach us on our website, www.lashawnsconsulting.com.
And my website is www.coaxumconnects.com.
And, we can help walk you through the process because it's, with any process, there are loops, right? I like to tell, businesses and nonprofits, like there's no straight way, right? Getting funding, right? There are meanderings, right? The waves are there, their mountains are there. Like you have to sometimes go through lots of hoops before you can see your first contract.
We're here to encourage you. So, dial in to Coaxum Report so we can encourage you and make sure that we're helping you get through those loops to the other side, because there are lucrative opportunities at the end of this rainbow.
And partnering is one of the great things. So Terry and I partner a lot sometimes on different projects.
That's right.
Because if you're not able to do it in your own capacity, you have to be able to either hire a team that can support you with that project, or hire a consultant or someone who you can use to get you across the bridge that you need to be, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to accept a city contract and get a negative report.
That's right.
And
you don't get a do-over. You don't get a do-over with the government. So
sometimes you do, but very far in
very rarely.
Right? It's like,
you don't want to be that busy.
We don't, and your name will go around, right? A lot of the times, organizations feel like in the city we don't talk to each other, right? Like you got a contract with DYCD, and now you're applying for one with SBS, and your name has already been sent over, right? If you got a contract with someone, they're going to see it in the database. They're going to probably reach out and say, how did X, Y, and Z work on this project? They're evaluating, right? They're getting feedback, right? And then there's also performance evaluations directly that's in the system if you get an RFP, right? So that's a bigger contract. And so, you're going to be evaluated. So if you don't meet the requirements of the contract, you're going to get a negative report, and then it's going to be shared with all the city agencies, right? So it's highly unlikely that they're going to want to do business with you unless you can kind of prove that you've corrected the issue and that now you're kind of in a good space to really perform well.
Absolutely. And that's why it's important to listen to the Marketplace, to listen to Coaxum Report, so we can bring you some nuggets on how you stay with an A, right? So the other thing that I want to mention today is that Small Business Administration, SBA.gov, is a space that you can go and find some technical support and assistance. SBS, the Small Business Services, which is in the New York City government office, and I'm sure you probably have a small business agency in your municipality or state. They have PTAC, which is the Procurement Technical Assistant Programs that can help walk you through some of these loops that we're referring to today. And then there's also several other agencies. And so we're asking for all of you that are interested in contracting and doing contracting or applying for discretionary funding in your municipality, in your state, in your city, to make sure that you're going onto these government websites because they have technical support available to you. And when we come back, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to also continue talking a little bit more about this access to capital, which is really important. And that's what this whole conversation has really been about, accessing capital for your small business. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Thank you for listening to
So nice, so nice. So nice, so nice. Virgin Islands nice. So nice.
Hey everybody, I'm Tracy Hamlin and I'm so excited to share that I'm going to be coming your way every Monday night for an entire hour to spotlight some phenomenal unsigned artists from around the globe, as well as some amazing small businesses from my area that you need to know about. I'm also going to throw in a song or two. Yeah, something like that, a little something like that. Now, I'm going to need you guys to tell all your friends, your cousins, your aunties, your bosses, come on in here and join us. We're going to have so much fun. You don't want to miss this. I'll see you soon. Ooches of smooches. Are you ready? Tracy Hamlin Show. Tracy Hamlin Show.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Quilly. I'm a stylist and I've always wanted to do this. It's like in my blood. I go to the grocery store and I literally tell you, I would be the girl that would be in Trader Joe's in an evening wear because that's who I am. So today we are doing a little bit of styling for the fall. I have all of the pieces that you need for your fall wardrobe. The knits, the button down, the jackets, the boots. I have all of that. You're gonna see a lot of red, a lot of like mustard yellow, a lot of checkered, which is what is on the runway this season. I really believe that I was meant to be in the Victorian era because I absolutely love bows and lace.
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dancehall. Don't stall, better get tuned in to the tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo.
You know you are a hot one. We are lime, we are laugh, we are chat, we no chill, we are hot one. Temperature rise, beer vibes in ya, this a hot one. Link up, connect, bust a sweat when you're deep on the hot one. We gonna spice it up like fire.
welcome back. Welcome back to the Coaxum Report. It is powered by the Callaloo Network. You can also tune in to us on WSTX Bloomberg, WSTX AM 970. You can also catch us on Fire TV. You can catch us on Apple and Roku. And we thank you so much for joining us today. I am here joined by my colleague and my friend, LaShawn Alexander. We've been talking a little bit about nonprofit funding, ways and opportunities to get nonprofits funded, as well as minority women-owned business funding. We've also shared some nuggets on businesses getting technical support so that you are ready for those opportunities and you are getting more opportunities through your procurement technical assistance centers, your small business service centers that are in your municipalities, in your city government, state government, federal government. And so, and we also encourage you to go on to SBA.gov. They have tons of information available for small business. And they also have like tutorials and different programs that you can tune into. And so, LaShawn was sharing some of her experiences working in the mayor's office of contracts and also sharing her experience as a consultant working with small business, helping them get funded. So, LaShawn has two businesses. She's a dual entrepreneur. So, she has a cupcake business, and I've had the pleasure of enjoying some delicious baked goods. And she also has a consulting firm. And so, LaShawn, I'm going to pass it back to you to talk a little bit more about we talked about technical support. We talked about NWBE contracting opportunities and also a little bit about access to capital. And so you can take on any of those three things because you've been in this space for a while.
Yeah, access to capital, I think it's a very important area that minority women-owned businesses really don't get into because, they have limited resources. And so a lot of the times, they think small,
Yeah.
right? And so unless you can think big and think for $1 million contract, a $10 million contract, then you're not thinking big enough.
That's right. You're thinking and you're planning, thinking and planning. That's right.
Yeah. And a lot of we kind of did a quick survey yesterday in one of my classes, and one of the fun facts that everyone was like so alarmed about was that 45% increase in the top earners, right? So every year they're getting an additional 45% increase, while people at the bottom of the totem pole are still not even making an additional fund, right? So like we're trying to raise the living wage so that at least the people at the bottom can get some type of earning, right? Because the lowest earners continue not to make increase their income, right? So you're working at the same job for 10 years and you've never gotten a raise, right?
Right.
There's something wrong with that picture.
That's right.
But I'm gonna, steer back to
a little bit. Let's touch on that a little bit though, because I always say, as a small business owner, if you are in business and you're not making money, you're not in business. It's your hobby. So what we're trying to encourage here in the Coaxum Report is for you to make money with your business. So whether you're selling widgets or you're in a service business, there should be a plan. Like you said, there should be some plan in place to actually make money. So, this is why it's very important for you to listen every week on the Coaxum Report so that we can give you some of these tips and nuggets. And we will share the barriers, because there's some barriers, access to capital barriers, and there's some best practices and big ideas. We had, Sean, we had the opportunity to have Senator Kevin Parker on. We were talking about, Senator Kevin Parker is our New York State Senator to the 21st Senatorial District here in Brooklyn. And he shared some nuggets on access to capital. And he said the first thing that he would tell small business owners to do is to ask for capital where you bank at. And he was giving them, he gave nuggets about the smaller banks are more likely, or the credit unions are more likely to give funding to small business than the bigger banks, right? And so he shared that information. Now, has that been an experience for you? I know you've been in this space a little while.
Absolutely.
Capital. What would you tell our listeners?
Yeah, a lot of small companies look for investment and investors, but when you seek investors, you're seeking less profit in your business, right? Because ultimately an investor is getting a percentage of ownership, right? So, and there's nothing wrong with that, because you can have a $10 billion company, but you need capital to grow it to that 10 billion, right?
That's right.
So getting investors might be the option for you, right? But if you have good credit and you're able to access capital, it's better that you invest your money in your product than you have someone else invest money in your product, right?
And I have two mindsets for that.
Yeah.
It depends, right? Because the technology that we use our Apple phones for, that the screen technology, touch tone technology, that was a government grant. That was the STIR funding through the federal government, because businesses like that are going to fail a lot more times than they're going to be successful. And so if you have a business like in that industry, then I encourage you to go after someone else, either grant money or money that others can invest in your business until you get to that point where that is now a good product or service that you're now offering. And so that's one. I have a two mindset. And then a second mindset, I have a ton of friends that are investors. They're either they're angel investors, and they take pride in finding MWBEs to invest in. And so if you have those type of individuals in your space, it's a great opportunity for you to kind of expand your business and grow from their dollars. So it's a couple mindsets. It's good to invest in yourself because you got to have skin in the game, right?
I think you have to invest in you first, right?
You
have
do.
to believe
You
in
do
your
have to do that. Absolutely.
If you don't believe in your product,
That's right. No
believe
one else is.
Right? And I always say, like, when you put your name behind your brand, that just emphasizes it more, right? Which is why I put my name behind both of my brands, right?
That's right. Me
because
too.
I have the skin in the game, right?
That's
right. I'm in my brand, right? When you see me, you see the brand, right? The
That's right.
professionality, right? The quality, right? That's what you're gonna get.
That's right.
So, but in terms of capital, you can. I always say you have to invest in your business, right?
That's right. You do, and that's really important. That's right.
If you don't have a management system, like a financial management system like QuickBooks, or there are a few others, then you're not in business, right? Because you're not knowing what you're earning.
That's right.
And what you're losing, right? So you can't see on a day and time what your cash flow is.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
And as a business owner, you should be seeing that every day.
That's right.
Right. You can't be overbearing in it, right? But you should be looking at your finances, right? You should be looking at.
Don't be afraid of your finances.
Even creatives that are in like different dance spaces or cultural spaces, who may not really be in the financial area. You still have to know how to look at a budget, right?
That's
and
right.
It's easy because if you see a red at the bottom, that's loss. So when it's positive,
we don't have too much loss.
you know the number, right?
That's
there.
Right.
Any number with the extra zero, that's good. You're adding zeros to that, that's good, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, sometimes people get off on this free notion, right? That I'm gonna start this business and people are gonna buy
They'll come. They will come, right?
Yeah, and it's like, no, you have to invest.
You do.
You have to invest in the branding, right? That's why
marketing,
you have marketing folks on board, that's going to design your logo. You should not design your own logo.
Unless you're creative and you can design your own logo.
You're right. Unless that's your field, right? That's
absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And on that note, because we're gonna wind down a little bit, but LaShawn is absolutely right. You have to invest in your business, and others will definitely invest in it as well. And so you're now listening to the Coaxum Report. And we are powered by that. We're on the marketplace, and we're powered by Callaloo Radio, Callaloo Network. And so, one thing that you can leave with us, LaShawn, before I close out completely, what would that be?
I would say, in terms of capital, it's important to build on your capital. So if you invest $100 in your business, you should see a return on it, right? But you have
Absolutely.
to
There should be
continue
a rate of return.
investing and seeing a return. Now, if you continue to invest and not see a return, then you're at a loss, right? So, there's all these advertisement vehicles that you can invest in, right? There's
Right.
Google ads, there's Instagram, Facebook ads. Now, if you're using those to invest, you want to make sure that there's a return. Sometimes it takes 6 months before you see a return.
Right. But making sure you're investing in the right products for your type of business.
Yeah.
Investing and you're seeing a rate of return. So we're closing out right now. Thank you so much, LaShawn Alexandra, LaShawn Consulting. LaShawn has cupcakes and so this has really been a great conversation for all of our listeners. Again, this is the Coaxum Report, powered by the Callaloo Network, and we're part of Bloomberg as well as Tempo. And so this is Terry Coaxum of the Coaxum Report for the Marketplace, broadcasting out of New York City. Thank you so much, and I hope you'll join us again next week for the Coaxum Report. Have a good day.